I'd like to introduce Charles. We're really excited about his artist talk. He is an artist in residence with us. If you don't know that, he has a studio in the back that he would be very open to show you. He's an amazing painter, abstracts. His paintings come from emotion. And so I would like to bring out Charles, and he'll talk a little bit about his work, and then we'll have a question and answer section at the end. Charles.
All right, keep it down. Can you hear me in the back? Let's get security for this guy. So anyways, as most of you probably know, I'm an artist in residence here. We have over 35 wonderful professional artists that have studios here. And this is my show that I was graciously allowed to put on for very little money. And anyway, so I'm going to basically answer questions, and I'll talk about how I kind of got started doing art and what drives me. So if you guys have any questions in between, please ask them so I don't have to ramble on. But basically I started, I think I was influenced when I was, third or fourth grade, in the abstract art. It was kind of a tough time. Tough, third grade was tough. So I was just looking for something to expand into as far as escape from certain things, and I remember seeing this abstract art in some office buildings, and it really struck me because I thought it was odd because there was no landscape involved. There was not really much of a form, and just a lot of bright colors and heavy structure to it. So, but the more I looked at it, I realized that the more you look into it, the deeper it gets, and you start to use your imagination, and you see things your own self, your own eyes, see what might be there. And I think that's where I really got interested in abstract. I didn't actually start painting or pick up a brush until I was 35, so that was 5 years ago.
You're a later bloomer.
Anyway, so I didn't start picking up a brush until I was in my 30s, and again looking for that creative outlet, somewhere that I could put down emotion. And I actually started with landscapes and oils and watercolors, things like that. I went from there into drawing and sketching. That was 3 years of that, and then I switched over to abstract because it was just more of a challenge, and I wanted to really express certain things and ideas. So I did that. It was probably about another 3 or 4 years of frustration with that, just trying to get what I saw or what I wanted to put down on canvas from my mind down to the canvas. And so I would try all kinds of techniques. I burned them, I dragged them through the desert in my truck, which didn't help the painting, but it helped me. So, but from there I just kind of progressed, and to me, abstract is a way of looking at things that you don't always see at first, and it gives you a lot of insight and depth. And you may pass by a painting 3 or 4 times and not see something, and then the 5th time you see that face or that image or that writing in there that you may not have seen before. So that's what I like about abstract. And I don't know, is there any questions? Yeah.
Do you start with a basic palette, or you just use the colors as you go along?
Do I have a preset palette? Sometimes I do. Like if I want, like a lot of my work involves, because of where I grew up and things like that. I like city life, and I like the the wild texture, the abstract on the walls, or the graffiti. But to me, it's just a big social statement. And so I like that kind of scrawl, but I also love nature, and I think the two actually go together quite well. So a lot of my pieces have obviously a starting point with certain colors, and then I layer on top, and I'll make it very chaotic, and then I'll layer on top, bring it down with tints and glazes and things like that, and then I layer on top of that a little while longer, so see where it goes. But yeah, a lot of them do have certain preset, colors involved, but I don't like to limit myself to those. If I dig through my paint drawer and see something that might look good, I'll do that. And I'd rather ruin a painting than to stop short as far as color, just because it looks good. I think a lot of artists will do that. They'll stop short just because they're afraid to continue because it's looking so good, and whatever the next step is going to completely change that painting. And that kind of makes you want to stop and just hesitate. And I'm the same way, but I'd rather just go forward and recreate a whole new one over if I have to. So, which I often regret, but anyway. So, yes.
Did you have any formal training?
I did not. So, yeah, I really didn't want to go that route. Because I didn't want to know what the rules were. I didn't want to do that. So I learned a lot and made a lot of mistakes, and it went from there. And then I did later go back and take some classes and find out what some of the rules were and why they were there. But other than that, I'd rather like to explore and try and use as many different materials as possible. So I use a lot of textured coatings and metallics sometimes. And as far as tools go, I use all kinds of tools. This is probably why I'm not married anymore, because the wife's kitchen was great for tools. So until I got caught, it was all good. So no, it's just I love to use all types of scrapers and squeegees and what have you. So not just paintbrushes. So yeah. Anything else?
So when you manipulate the colors, do you have a guideline? No, just your own guideline. How like for example, if I do this, I want some few color, predominant color, or you just do it intuitively.
No, I pretty much know which. Like this one in particular, it's a sister painting. I sold the other one. It was a commission piece in Santa Barbara. And so this one's on plywood, let's say, and then it's got the elastomeric concrete on top, and then burlap, and then pieces of canvas. But I know I wanted to use certain colors, and I may not use them right away because I want to layer below it with other colors that will come forth, and then I will glaze or wash over with the colors I want. So, anything else?
sometimes go at it with both hands too? You're not, I don't know if you're right or left-handed, but do you sometimes use both?
I do. I'm mostly left-handed, but I do use both hands. And I think there's a couple of videos out there of me using both hands at the same time. Like I'll apply with my left, and then I'll brush it out or feather it out with the right at the same time. Or if I'm painting all night, like sometimes when I paint between 5 and 15 paintings at a time.
5 or 15?
Yeah, so like the other night was a slow night, I did 6. But I worked on it, so it doesn't mean I
And
completed
you do
it.
this in like a garage studio?
I have a studio here, yeah, in the back, so it looks like a garage now. They paint everywhere. So, but I'll do, on a typical night, if I'm working, I'll start in the day and I'll work till midnight or 3 in the morning, and I'll work on 15 paintings at once so I can keep moving around. And I just layer them, and sometimes I get them done pretty quick, within a day or 2 or a week. Sometimes they sit for a year or longer before I even get back to them. So, yes.
I was wondering about that one in the corner there, if you could talk about your emotion, what you were thinking.
It's for sale. So this one here?
Yeah.
So this one is titled She Calls Your Name. And I think, well, there's quite a few that are named after females, yeah, so. But I'm not really honestly sure what I was thinking when I did this one. This one was done about a year ago. And I think I just wanted like, almost like a waterfall coming down. And it has an image in here, right here, like a body, but I don't, even if I put an image in there and I like it and it's something that's prominent in the painting, I don't feel it's done, I'll paint right over it just because, you know, I hate to do that, but I hate to stop too, just because I like something in there. I think you have to be willing to risk that and take that chance and be able to ruin things and make things better sometimes. So.
Do you have YouTubes?
I don't. No.
You should try that.
Yeah, I should. So.
On that painting, I know there are a lot of color, very bold color, but predominantly the turquoise and the red. Do those 2 colors have some significance when you created this piece?
Well, yeah, that piece is strongly about emotion and you know, just human emotion toward you know, other people, and so it's, to me, it's you know, like the red is like passion, you know. It's not anger. It's more of a deep passion, and then the blues and the purples and things are you know, more reflections of that passion, and then the yellows and things behind that are just warm feelings to me that reflect that same, you know, like a love. So.
Can you talk about how this show came together? Why street urban? Why the graffiti wall? Why certain pieces made it into the show and why others didn't?
Sure. Come on in. Hi. So this series of work is just kind of, like I said, embodies who I am as far as the way I kind of was brought up, and you know, loving the you know, as a kid seeing these these barrios and things with these beautiful murals on them, you know, and then, you know, the names and things that were tagged on there. And it's not so much like it is today where people just spray paint something and it, you know, and they call it art or whatever. And to me it was more a beauty or an artistic. I mean, they really spent time on these big murals, and like I said, I just love the flavor of that, the emotion, the symbols, the words, and I think that's where I picked up my style of writing. A lot of these have words in them or sentences. Don't ask me what they are, but I don't know. But when I write, I just what's in my mind, and I just throw it on there. And so if I skip words or sentences or letters, or it doesn't even matter, because whatever I'm thinking at the time is the emotion that painting is drawn with. And I think at that point, the words for the most part don't matter, because I just want the viewer to see and feel for themselves, you know, their own emotions, feel something in that, not necessarily my emotions, but to get something out of it themselves. Yeah, so this came together through that, and knowing that I probably won't be doing too much more. I'm going to be moving in a different direction after this show for the most part. And I'll still come back to this style of painting because it's close to my heart, and I just love the depth and the vibrance of it. But to me, it just brings out, you know, the flavor of people and style, and I love nature, and I think for me it combines both. A little bit of nature and some more so than others, like this here, but also the you know, just the roughness of city living. So a lot of these have buildings in them, and they do have graffiti or, you know, the emotion of faces and things like that. So,
What direction are you going to go in? Can you
what
say?
direction? I do. I'm gonna keep on with the abstract, obviously, but it's gonna be more structured as far as more abstract landscapes, and I have some ideas with that, and then more interactive artwork as well.
What's that?
Like that's interactive over there, the graffiti wall, you know, that whole station. And I love doing that, and I spent a few years up in Iowa welding sculptures. I want to get back to the welding as well, and I want to do more three-dimensional, you know, working pieces. And then again with the abstract, I would do more structured landscape, and also pieces with people in them. So, you know, it's been a long time since I've done that, and I would like to get back to that. But, you know, I love the use of color, and I feel like I've spent the last 10 years or so just playing with color and, you know, trying to get some depth, or how to, you know, trying to realize how to get that depth down. And I feel like I've gotten it down pretty good to where I like it and where I want it, and I want to expand now.
Great.
Anything else? If you leave early, you have to pay an extra $5.
Can you tell
Yes.
tell the listeners about how you use music while you're working?
Yes, and if you were here for the opening reception, I don't know if you could hear it because it was, you know, it was quite loud in here. But I had my own track of music that I have a certain set of music that I listen to while I paint that is I mean, it's a mix. It's everything from like Johnny Cash to the Chemical Brothers, and you know, I mean, you name it. So, and blues, but to me, you know, I mean, I like all that variance of emotion, and it helps. I think it helps me to flow through the painting, you know, from one section to the next, depending on the beat and the rhythm. And I like, what do you call it, perpetual, you know, rhythm, you know, something that's steady, you know, with the same beat in the background for a while. And, you know, while I'm working on pieces, I capture that, and then I you know, it's a good painting tool, you know. Music brings out the best in you, I think. So, so I have that music, and I was playing it during the gallery, because that's what I paint to, you know, this certain track of maybe 50 songs or so. So, yeah. So like that painting behind you, it's called Neon Lights. Sorry to make everybody turn around. Hey, turn around. So, so that one was done over a series of weeks, and that was done, actually that was done in the summertime out back here in the middle of the night. I would paint it and then drag it out into the grass at midnight and throw paint at it and then wash it off. And I did that like 3 or 4 times before I brought it in. So hopefully the neighbors, it was quiet, I think. So then I would bring it in, and then I would tone it down, and then bring it back up, and then bring it back in the next day. So, but you know, things like that, I mean, I like to experiment outside. You know, I don't like to be just painting in the studio all the time, or in one spot, or one section, or on one piece. I like to move around and try and kind of think outside, at least my box of, you know, what should be and what. So.